Mike Draco first across the line tonight. Right behind him, Mr. Greg White from Texas. Go Radar, go Fletcher. I'm here, y'all. Robin Hingabottom in with us tonight. Hey, good to see all you guys piling in for this week's installment of Shop Talk. Hey, I'm your host for the next 90 to 120 minutes, all the two-wheel bullshit we can fit. Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, sitting here right now, 50 floors below the street level in the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio, getting ready to fire this one up. Great week. It's Christmas. It's all over the place. It's on us. We got some on us. We got some on the walls here. But we're celebrating because hopefully under the tree you're going to find something for your motorcycle or your motorcycle habit. We're just 4 minutes out from this one going live. Make sure you hit the like and share button. Let your friends and neighbors know that we're going live with another episode of Shop Talk every Sunday, 9 p.m. Look, Barbie the Welder's here. Cut it out. This is going to be a great show. Really filling up. Grab a drink, kick back, relax, get ready for another episode of Shop Talk. How does Mike Draco do it? Josh Boggs in with us. Twist and Steel over there at Steel City Blacksmith. Jeremy Valentine, Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's got a hot bike in this issue of Cycle Source Magazine. Everybody saying hi to Barbie. Spent a lot of time in the shop this week, Barbie, thinking of you when I was using my cutoff wheel with the safety guard on. I specifically was like, you know, Barbie told me safety is sexy. Big D in Marengo, Illinois. If you're watching out there, man, throw your name up and where you're watching from so we can give you a shout out. But throughout the show, this chat box is going to be up. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can let us know. We can bring them up on the air and get you involved in Shop Talk. Don't just sit back and be an observer. Be a participant in the show. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. I saw the guard. Safety is sexy. Right on. That's because Barbie busted me on the High Seas rally talking about using a cutoff wheel on an electric grinder with no guard. She shamed me. She shamed me into responsibility. Unbelievable. 52 years old, and this young lady is teaching me to be responsible. All right, 2 minutes out. 2 minutes out. Get ready for this week's Shop Talk. Down around the 30-second mark, I just want to wish all of you, everyone that's watching Shop Talk tonight, all of our friends and family and fans that are out there, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays across the board from everyone here at Shop Talk. And with that, let's get this one out of the station and up onto the tracks and go live with this week's installment of Shop Talk. Here we go. All right, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land. It is just after 9 p.m. here on the East Coast. That means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm your host, Chris Callen with Cycle Source Magazine, coming to you live every Sunday from the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio, 50 floors below the street level here at Cycle Source Magazine headquarters. It's Christmas time. Did you guys hear that?
It's Christmas?
It is. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas.
And look, wait, Mark. Heather has her Christmas sweater on.
I know. Look at this. And just so y'all know, I'm obligated to wear it because Chris bought it for me. But it's interactive. Ready?
I've already told her she's in trouble to blink
Look
twice,
at
but she is
multi-function
not.
lights.
So,
I think this thing has more wiring than a chopper.
You know what?
possibility.
It's quite possible. So Christmas just a week away. Unfortunately for us, that's going to put an episode of Shop Talk off the table for next week. But we have a great show tonight. President, the man himself from the Antique Motorcycle Club of America, here with us, Mr. Keith Kaiser tonight. Our guest, we have feature bike, we have new product, we have a tech tip.
All sorts of good stuff.
Been super busy in the garage. I'm actually tired of picking metal shavings out of my fingers. I took today and was like, that's it. I can't
Gloves.
even.
A lot of whining going
You
on right now.
can't wear gloves. Mark, will you tell her?
He said yesterday, I think I need to take a minute from the shop and just regroup. Apparently the minute meant he was only going to spend 8 hours in the shop today.
Yeah.
Instead of 12, so that was good.
Well, think about it. That's
a
4
minute.
hours worth of minutes.
That's a minute.
Will somebody please loan Radar enough money to get Barbie drunk enough to marry him? Is that your Christmas wish?
Listen.
Jeepers creepers.
I think Moonshiner Chuck has been trying to do that all year long. And he has an unlimited supply of alcohol. And if he hasn't been able to do it, Radar, you're kind of screwed. Just saying.
I sort of feel like Barbie's being pimped out right now. What's going on? Poor girl.
You might be better off with unlimited welding supplies. I don't know.
I'm going to say, yeah.
Let's face it,
my lights are flashing.
the cost of consumables is going up.
Yeah, life supply of argon. You might have a deal.
Yeah, so no show next Sunday, but we will be back after the beginning of the new year.
Our next show is January 8th, actually.
Oh.
And that will be with Lionel Gammon from Barnyard Bikes and Law Tigers.
Right on. Have you checked that out, Mark?
What?
Lionel
Yes.
is
The barnyard. Yeah.
yeah, going down the road of trying to put his own motorcycle together, and he's been visiting people. I talked to Rick Bray, and he was all the way out in California with Rick, and he's been bouncing from shop to shop, so we're going to get him on here and talk about that. Everyone is building a motorcycle right now. Everyone that I know, the Chopper Friends Throwdown is going crazy. Barbie says you can get me with welding supplies all year long.
See, I knew.
Gotta have goals. Gotta
Right?
have goals. That's what Radar said. I have goals, Heather. So, what's everybody doing for the holidays?
Eating.
I kind of know what you're doing, Heather.
Eating.
Yeah. I'm gonna cook, and we're gonna eat a lot. And the reason no show for the following Sunday after Christmas is it's New Year's Day, and we will be in New England with the family. We're gonna go see our grandbabies for a couple days. Try not to bring them back with us.
Can you imagine?
Which I would do in 2.2 seconds.
Oh no, and it's great. Every time they're here, it's fantastic, and then I want to die. About 10 minutes in, when they still have 98.5% of their energy and you have 2%.
Yeah, it's like funny
No.
because when you guys do that, for some reason, you always find a way to have to come to my house.
No. Chris's big thing is like, he's great until the second he has to reprimand his granddaughter.
Oh my God.
Like that literally, big tough Chris literally breaks him. If our granddaughter cries, he's done.
Yeah, forget it.
He'd be like, you want a pony? Let me go get you a pony. Hold on.
Dude, she was, the last time she was here, she did something really mean to her brother, and I said, that's it. Get over there in that chair. I put a chair in the corner, and I'm doing the strong pap thing, and I said, I want you to sit there and think about, and she looked up at me, and she started that bottom lip thing that little girls do. And I was like, I turned to Heather, I said, I can't even look at her. Do something about this.
And I'm like, and I looked at him, I'm like, be strong.
That's me. I'm the total opposite. Once they piss me off, they've pissed me off.
Oh, Jesus. All right, man. So lots to get to tonight. Shop Talk, if it's your first time joining us, thanks for being here.
Where the hell have you been?
Where the hell have you been?
Right.
Share the link. Make sure you know up here somewhere there's a link going on. And what's the whole show about? Motorcycles. Sometimes chopper stuff, sometimes
Stupid stuff.
taking a trip, sometimes building cool stuff, sometimes
it's just about people who like motorcycles.
But generally, we start the whole thing off with a little program we call
The News.
The News.
The Shop Talk World Report is brought to you by Law Tigers. Get the compensation you deserve and get back on the road with Law Tigers.
This coming in from motorcycle.com this week, 23 BMW R9T 100 years and R18 100 years edition first look. A lot of companies rolling out their first look stuff. Something about this motorcycle, though, I dig the hell out of that bike.
You typically do like the BMWs an awful lot, though. You always have.
Which is funny because they're not like a panhead at all.
No, not even close.
Huh? Look, I'm flipping. I'm
What
just
are you doing?
I'm clicking all around. I've lost my mind. Let's see. BMW Motorrad is commemorating its 100th anniversary with the release of special heritage editions of the R9T and R18. BMW will produce 1,923 units of each model, recognizing the debut of the brand's first motorcycle, the R32, in September 1923 at the German Motor Show in Berlin. And there it sits, right in between the two of them.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
It doesn't suck.
I am a fan, though. I really am. I think, BMW, and they're really 100 years old.
And
And you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Not unlike other auspicious motorcycle companies that claim,
stop already.
okay,
Stop.
Moving on.
Moving
I know
on.
There's more
Gonna
news.
get us in trouble.
from Cycle Source World Report at cyclesource.com, 23 tankful artists announced, because everyone deserves a full tank. If you guys remember the inaugural run of this, Heather put together with Ed Kerr from the Hamsters USA. Smokeout Rally, an event that started a chopper movement some 20 years ago, was not only successfully revived in 22 at the Rowan County Fairgrounds in Salisbury, but at the same time the event organizers, Chris and Heather, knew they wanted to do some good. Basically put together some, what was it, 20 this year, 18?
We had 16 this year. We had a couple that had some issues that couldn't come out.
But the list of names was incredible. The best artists from the motorcycle culture across the country. You can go and see some of the tanks today on the Cycle Source website, and you can hear the official list of who's going to be on the roster for 2023 Smokeout.
Before you move on, I have to take a minute and recognize one individual who reached out. And actually, I want to thank everybody who signed up for 2023. Every single person, all 19 of them, had reached out and volunteered before I could even, make that solicitation. But one in particular I have to mention individually. It's Yamasha. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was December 20 issue, we featured Yamasha as in our artist profile. Yamasha lives in the Ukraine, and she had volunteered last year to be a tankful artist, and obviously war broke out and she was not able to. If I get emotional, I apologize. She reached out about 2 weeks ago and said, despite the war that's going on where she lives, because she's in Kiev, she wants to participate and she wants to do a tank. And just the sheer fact that they literally, between sirens, get to live their life, and then the sirens go off and they have to run and hide. The fact that she thought about participating in something like this and helping our communities.
Yep. No, and you know what, man?
It's just incredible.
Think about from top to bottom, this whole thing is so amazing. It actually is part of the big part of the reason why Ed Kerr got nominated and then voted as Motorcycles Man of the Year. For all of the charity work that we do as motorcycle people throughout the year, you always see it tied mostly to youth. You see all the stuff that's going on for kids and for toy drives and, helping kids out with education and bicycles and everything else. And this was the one initiative that said, hey, motorcycle people, are getting older. Like the generation that fueled the biggest rise in the motorcycle culture is getting to the point now where a lot of them are going to end up in a place where they need that help.
Absolutely.
And Meals on Wheels is an incredible program.
Yep.
We're
Amen.
so proud that we got behind this and honored that, you guys, all the artists thought this was a great deal. And for, for all the people that bid on the tanks and stuff too, because it was no short feat that we raised $15,000.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But, and everybody, through the course, their tanks are going to be sent out very shortly here by Paco Parts, who donated the tank blanks. Over the course of completion of the tank. Sorry. What?
Professional Monkey says Santa looks like shit.
Aww.
I've been in the garage all week, man. Give me a break.
So Paco donated the tanks. We're going to be updating everybody and sharing people's, feeds on how their tanks are coming. And just about them, if it's important to you and you can't buy a tank, please go support the artists that are donating their time and talent so we can support food insecure seniors. So I did just post a link to you, Masha. She is creating art when she can, so give her a follow, pay attention, because all these people are doing awesome things. Professional Monkey.
Did we put a note in the tanks that says please paint them the right way?
I think there was only one that was painted wrong.
Yeah, there was. I was just looking at those tanks that were all lined up and thought that.
However, Heather, you look adorable.
Thanks,
Good thing your mom is
It's
such a
that
big
shirt.
I
fan.
love it. Is the shirt.
It's the shirt.
Professional Monkey would still sit on your lap. That's because he made you ride Bish.
Moving on to the next story. This in from the Buffalo Chip. Harley Davidson and Sturgis Buffalo Chip joined forces for annual Biker Bells celebration. Sturgis Buffalo Chip and Harley Davidson are teaming up for the Sturgis Rally's preeminent celebration of women in motorcycling. The 5th annual Biker Bells ride and celebration will take place Tuesday, August 6th, with registration and events starting at the Lodge of Deadwood, followed by an escorted ride to the Sturgis Buffalo Chip for a special riders reception and charity auction. Tickets for the event can be purchased online by logging on to bikerbells.com. Ticket sales to support Helping with Horsepower at the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame. So I can still remember when Buffalo Chip first started that whole deal.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
And it seems like it shouldn't be that long ago.
And Heather, your mom has to say you look adorable or she'll be in trouble.
I love my mom.
Meanwhile,
She's my biggest fan. She's my only fan. But
our associate producer, Mr. Rob Nussbaum, is in the house, so everybody better straighten up.
McAss.
Also in from CycleSource.com, Arizona Bike Week 23 won't disappoint.
Oh, boy.
Coming into its 26th year, Arizona Bike Week is pulling out all the stops for 23 every Wednesday for the past 3 weeks. ABW has announced a new headliner, and each one more exciting than the last. Not to mention they've teamed up with CycleSource Magazine, keep the motorcycles in the motorcycle rally in the spotlight. This year, CSM will be hosting 2 bike shows, a performance bike show and an open class custom bike show, old time bike games, and a smattering of Grease and Gears garage segments. Smattering. That's official, but dude, check this out. Billy Idol, Megadeth, and Stained.
And wait a minute, after I put this press release out, they announced Texas Hippie Coalition.
Oh, nice.
Mark's like, I'm so not missing Arizona now.
I like those guys.
Right?
Yeah, that'll be a pretty good show. We're still trying to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So go check them out at ArizonaBikeWeek.com. .com. Last piece I have for you guys tonight. Harley Davidson to kick off 120th celebration year on January 18th. So, excuse me, long and the short of this, rather than bring out the new motorcycles like most of the rest of the world in Milan and all the, big EICMA and all that stuff, Harley Davidson is holding true to their annual live broadcast where they bring out the new bikes. On January 18th, Harley-Davidson will reveal both its 23 motorcycle lineup and details of the homecoming celebration for the 120 years in the making. All the news will stream live at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time at harleydavidson.com. Make sure you check it out.
I love that they used a picture of Chris Summer Simmons for their press release.
Lots of speculation, though, like what's going on. Please, someone tell me to shut up.
What is going on?
Radar, shut up. A lot of speculation about what's going on with the Pan American, if the rumored new model is going to be coming out of that camp. What's really gonna happen with the Sportsters? Are the Evo Sportsters actually gone forever? Was it a mistake? Was it a bad dream?
Wake up.
We'll keep you posted.
Was it a bad dream?
All right, man. So listen, the show is rolling on, and we have a guest waiting in the wings for us. We're gonna take a real quick break to check out a feature bike. On the other side, we're gonna go and talk to Keith Kaiser. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Shop Talk. Out of Focus is brought to you by Garage Build. Submit your build. Share your passion. Powered by Dennis Kirk.
Hi, I'm Steve Klein with Siera Madre Motorcycle Company, and today we'd like to talk to you about the Pierce Motorcycle Company. George Ann Pierce started manufacturing in the late 1800s, I believe 1898, bathtubs, bird cages, and ice boxes. Okay. Around the turn of the century, he started building bicycles, and around 1901, he got involved with both steam and gasoline-powered engines. Everybody knows the Pierce Aero luxury car. His son, Percy, convinced his father that this newfangled motorcycle craze was probably going to amount to something. So his dad gave him a building and funded him to start the Pierce Motorcycle Company. Pierce is considered one of the most beautifully designed machines ever made. The frame is actually a 3.5-inch diameter tube that is copper lined. This part and this part of the frame is the gas tank, and the front tube is the oil tank. The power plant, they started in 1908 with a single cylinder and a 4-cylinder inline that was shaft driven. This is the last year that they made Pierces. This is called the big head single, and it has twin cams. Why would you need twin cams on a single cylinder motorcycle? This is 598 cc's displacement, so it has a lot of torque. It's a long stroke, 4-stroke engine, produces a lot of torque and a lot of power. And with twin cams, they simply wanted to give the rider the dependability and the torque and the simplicity of a single cylinder, but they wanted the higher end speed and performance of a twin. It's belt driven. Here's your oil plunger. Handlebars are very distinctive. Early bikes had lower tiller bars, which made it hard to go around corners. Pierce put taller bars on it. It's an incredibly smooth riding machine. It has about a 58-inch wheelbase. It's a little longer than most motorcycles of the period, so it's got a very smooth ride. And it's a very fast motorcycle. Really, you shouldn't go as fast as this machine will go when you're on clincher tires. So, again, Pierce are one of the most beautifully designed motorcycles. They were only in business 5 years. Less than a couple thousand motorcycles were produced, which is why there's very few left today. Thank you for letting me share this with you, and we hope to see you on the road soon.
We're the Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers. We understand the challenges riders face every day. As riders, we want to share the road and be seen by motorists. Remaining visible is critical to our safety and well-being. That's why we work tirelessly to promote motorcycle safety and awareness. We're proud to support our community that includes riders of all stripes. If you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. The Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers.
Hey guys, Cody here, just giving you an update on my build progress. This week what I did was I went ahead and mocked up the front end and got my 8-over front end all together. Not without its tribulations, had to rebuild the forks about 3 times maybe, trying to figure out where the damper rods are supposed to go and not get stuck upon assembly. So that's all mocked up with the handlebars, got the rear wheel off because we're going to mount a tire on it this week. Went ahead and got some other odds and ends like the air cleaner assembly, the foot peg assemblies off. And then after that, I got the stock tank off, went ahead and mocked up the new Frisco mount tank that's going to go on the backbone of the bike, and then went ahead and got David's fender on the back of the bike now because he's not using it, and then taped that off because I'm going to cut it this week. We're all ready to do a chain conversion when I get the rear wheel back on and take it from there.
Like and follow, and when it comes time to vote, and we're going to do you guys get to vote on the winner, and it gets announced at Mama Tried. Stay tuned for the next build update. It'll probably be about 2 weeks from today.
All right, welcome back to Dennis Kirk Studio. When I first got exposed to the AMCA, so any of you guys that know who the AMCA is, the Antique Motorcycle Club of America, you know, a long time ago, I knew some cats that were into it and stuff, and I always considered it, you know, the old bike guys, right? You know, these were guys that had enough money to have, you know, the cream of the crop, collectible motorcycles. And it was a number of years ago, Heather. How long was it ago that we went to that was all the way back when Texas was doing the paint swap meet,
Yeah,
right?
that was a long, 2016 or 17. It was a number of years ago. But
we met actually Mr. Klein during that event and a bunch of the cats from Texas, and it was really, really refreshing to meet a group of people that were like, they didn't care if it was choppers, anything that meet the cut line to be a classic, vintage, or antique motorcycle. They welcomed you into the group. We've been members there ever since. So you know, it's been a lot of fun. Like I've found myself to a number of the AMCA road runs and the swap meets and stuff that they hold. So we wanted to give you guys a little more exposure to this, and we invited the president of the organization on, Mr. Keith Kaiser, and we're going to talk about Antique Motorcycle Club of America and all things old bike.
Just Hanging Out in the Shop is brought to you by Spectro Oils. Made in the USA since 1966, the best oil on planet Earth.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Great. How you doing, Chris?
Good, man. I'm sorry you had to wait for us there for a minute to get you on, but thank you for being here with us tonight.
No problem. I've enjoyed watching.
So let's start off right off the bat, just for people that might not be exposed to the Antique Motorcycle Club. Tell everybody what this is all about, what the mission statement is.
So the Antique Motorcycle Club of America, and let me correct something first. I'm the executive director.
Oh.
I'm not the president. I don't want to get, those are guys that are have to be reelected every year, so I don't want to be one of those.
My apologies.
They're the ones with all the pressure. So, but we've been around since 1954. That's when our founding fathers, 4 guys up in New England, started the club, and it was all about the preservation of motorcycles, because you have to understand, at this time, this was, you know, within 10 years of World War II ending, and so many motorcycles disappeared during that time, because if they weren't runners, if they weren't hidden in a barn, then they potentially got scrapped. And, you know, back in that day, when you had a new motorcycle, well, you had to be a mechanic to ride those things.
Yeah.
And if, you know, so many people rode them until they didn't, you know, adjust the valves or something like that simple, that it just quit running, so it got shoved over in a corner somewhere. Well, a lot of those were just left outside. I've talked to tons of members that's how they acquired their motorcycles. And I'm talking about guys in their 80s and 90s. When they acquired their first motorcycle, it was something just leaning up against a fence. So the Antique Motorcycle Club is all about the preservation of antique motorcycles and the parts and the documentation. I mean, so that's what we're really all about, is to make sure that these are survivors in the future. And at one time, this was all about turn of the century and teens motorcycles. To be a member back in those early days, you had to have a motorcycle that was 1920s or older.
Yeah.
So today, it is a rolling 35 years. So anything coming up here will be 1988 and older.
Wow.
So that's what it's all about. It's just making sure these things are around for the next 100 years.
So real quick, when you said that, we had talked in the pre-show real quick, and I wanted to hold it for here that 88, man, I mean, that officially means the first run of Evos are starting to be considered old enough to be.
And they're not vintage, they're antique.
Oh, right. That kind of hurts, like, personally a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
it makes me laugh thinking of all the guys I came up with that's, had the patches or the stickers that said they can have my shovel head or pan head and trade for an Evo when they pry it from my cold dead hands.
So we're the Antique Motorcycle Club, but a lot of people get hung up on that word and think, oh, I don't own an antique. So it's everything, vintage, classic. And we don't stay away from the word antique because that's who we are, but trying to reach out, to the chopper crowd. You don't want to call them antique motorcycles. So, we're certainly trying to broaden our horizons there, but we don't care what it is. Anything that participates with us, a member, you don't even have to own a motorcycle, but it's all about anything 35 years and older. We don't care if it's a chopper, if it's a trike, dispatch, it doesn't matter. 2 or 3 wheels, we're game. Dirt bikes, doesn't matter.
Well, and that's why I wanted you to bring up the mission statement right off of the bat, because that's one of the most important functions. And I belong to pretty much every organization that there is that has to do anything with motorcycles, motorcycle rights, or glorifying and embracing the motorcycle culture. But that's one of the most important things, I think, here, especially if you consider throughout the history already of the club, when you were talking about post-war, like the amount of metal that was being scavenged through the war and taken for the war effort, and, how dear people's time and money became through that period, and how motorcycles almost ceased to exist at that point, and I would almost say that through the electric revolution and everything that's going on right now, we almost face similar hurdles coming up. Maybe within the next 10 years, for sure, in the next generation, where we're gonna need an advocacy group to ensure that the stuff that we do and we enjoy stays vibrant and stays alive.
Well, we do have different places around the world that we are members of. That are specifically out there fighting for motorcycle rights going forward, because in Europe, they are already years in advance in the fight that we will one day have to take up. They're already losing their roads over there. And it's going to be real interesting, the whole electrified world. I think the joke's going to be on them in the end, because it's only us guys with old motorcycles and old cars that will be able to be mobile one day when we have a worldwide blackout.
Oh, so, how about it?
They, typical government, they don't think of the repercussions of the rules that they're trying to make. And,
hey, what is
we'll
it?
We'll just keep fighting for our right to have our gasoline
what
machines
is it
out there on the road. But
is it Sweden?
we're members
Sweden
of
right
FIBA.
now?
over in Europe, and we're members of SEMA here in the U.S., which is a car conglomeration, but they're 100 times bigger than we are, and have a lot bigger voice in the government, and even have an office in D.C. So you've got the AMA in D.C. and you've got SEMA, and between those two, those are somewhat our voices to fight for our rights.
Well, another one not to be overlooked is the Motorcycle Riders Foundation. Really does they do a lot of strong work for motorcycle rights and advocacy within the government. But I was more even talking about with the AMCA. A lot of victories can be won without ever having to go to war. And showing people how to have a good time and get together with these motorcycles, and that they're not just showpieces to be put into a museum. Like that's a big part of it. You know what I mean? And you guys are the living embodiment of that throughout the year.
Well, we're definitely about, ride them, don't hide them. We appreciate the museums that put those motorcycles out there in front of people to see. But we're all about getting those things out and riding them, and such as our road runs that we have. The road runs are all about getting these motorcycles out on the road. Now, of course, these days, you rarely see the teens and 20s out there, but quite frequently, you've got guys that still have the teens bikes that will show up and do these road runs. Not much different than the Cannonball. The Cannonball has done a tremendous job in reviving these old bikes and proving to people that, hey, you can take it on a 3,000-mile journey across the country. So,
absolutely,
we're proud to be part of that each year. So, it's all about keeping a motorcycle out and on the road and visible.
So, give us a little breakdown about the structure of the organization. How many chapters across the country? How is that decided by population or geographical region, or how do you guys split that up?
So chapters didn't actually start until, even though we've been around for about 70 years now, chapters didn't actually start until 50 years ago, because we're just now celebrating the 50th year anniversary of some of these earlier chapters. But today we have 87 chapters, but 120 worldwide if you count the associate chapters. Using Cherokee as an example in Texas. When I came to work for AMCA in 2014, when I looked at our geographical map, I saw one dot on the map in Texas. And I thought, God, there's got to be more than one chapter in Texas. So I'm from Texas, so I drove out to meet Steve Klein in Austin to talk about that. And Steve and I are the ones who actually developed the associate chapter program. So now when you look at our map, you see that Texas has 13 different dots on the map. So they're essentially based out of Dallas, but they have a sub-chapter, if you will, in every major town throughout Texas. So that's how we started in the 70s, trying to start with the chapters to keep it local, because the best part about the club and keeping people active is having them actually do something locally and do something regularly. So with the local chapters, they can meet weekly, they can meet monthly, but as long as you're doing something together. Right. I belong to the Smoky Mountain chapter, which was originally based in North Georgia. Now it's more loosely based around Atlanta, but we have associate chapter over here in Alabama, one in Birmingham and one here in Huntsville. And ironically, I met 4 people that I never knew before we started this associate chapter. So guys that live within a few miles of me, and now we get together regularly for breakfast, lunch, garage crawls and things like that. So that's what it's all about, is trying to keep it a big organization. We're over 12,000 members, but trying to keep it local and keep it small.
Now I want to get your take real quick on, so we were exposed to a new thing this year with the addition of the Riveter chapter. And I wanted to get your take on that. If that's something you see, being a new entity within itself, that like, these things are going to start to come into play, that, maybe there's the Riveter chapter, which is a chapter for women riders. Are we going to see stuff that'll be like, this is for the chopper guys, or maybe there ends up being a knucklehead chapter or something like that?
That's very possible. How that all started is Karen Andre she called me up a couple of years ago. And my wife and I were on I-65 heading north. I think we were going to Wasion. And she had this idea of putting on an event, which ended up turning into her Chicks on 66 event that they did this year. Mm-hmm. So when she started talking about, well, how do we get involved with the AMCA so that the AMCA can be involved in this? And I said, well, first you have to be attached to a chapter. That's the only way to have AMCA involved in anything, is it's got to be chapter based. So that's when we talked about, we could start another chapter that is basically women. So we've had in the past the women of the AMCA, but that was a group that got together, or still gets together annually at Wasion, but we didn't really have a chapter that was focused on women. So we put together a proposal and floated that past the board, and they agreed to accept it, but knowing that that was going to be the bridge that maybe in the future that we did have chapters that might be associated to a specific brand or even model. So by doing that with a Riveter chapter, it's certainly possible. I mean, we are talking to one specific model, not just brand, but model group right now about doing the same thing. So, it's a potential. We could certainly do that.
Have you seen a drop in numbers or an increase in numbers? And do you think that if you broke those specific varieties of bikes up, it would change your numbers? People wanting to join or being more, apt to joining? Do you think it would make a difference?
Quite possibly, because where we're very weak is in the Japanese market. Now, I know as diehard Harley guys, maybe you don't want to hear that, but there in itself is a reason to potentially have chapters that might be specifically Japanese brand.
Yeah.
Because, the one thing that I say, and this is my personal opinion, I would hate to see an Oli or a Wasion that is very strong in American, not just Harley and Indian, but the early survivor bikes. When I think of Oli, you immediately think of the Redding Standard. That's where you see Pierce. You see a lot of American motorcycles at Oli. You see that very strong Harley Indian at Wasion, but the day's coming. I mean, there were far more Japanese motorcycles produced in the 70s and 80s than everything in the history combined. So one day, that will be the motorcycle that's out there in force, and we don't want to dilute or take away or run off our American brand motorcycles because we seem to be, overran with Japanese motorcycles. That's not the case today, but I feel it's coming in the next 10 years or 20 years. So, I think if we end up having brand specific chapters, then maybe we can have brand specific national meets. And then that would give a reason to pull that away. So talking about your numbers, Mark, we're at 12,000 members, and we grow by 1,500 brand new first-time members every single year.
Wow.
No, that's good.
That's fantastic.
Problem is we lose almost the same amount. I mean, so we're growing at a rate of 1% a year, but we are growing, where a lot of other organizations are going the opposite way.
Do you think that now that, like you were saying before, now the Evo's in there. And as much as a lot of people are saying, oh, Evos they can't be, I mean, statistically, year-wise, they're eligible. Do you think that's an opportunity for more people to jump in now? I mean,
absolutely. Because if you look at hog, so, hog is really, I certainly can be corrected here, but hog is really more about, the newer bikes, right? So now even the Evo bikes seem to be the redheaded stepchild, for lack of other words, in that world. So, certainly that is an opportunity to reach out to the Evo guys and go, hey, we have a place for you. Come bring your bikes, come put them on display, come show them. And, we want you to be part of the Antique Motorcycle Club.
I think too, like, honestly, a bunch of the stigma that you're referring to between Harley guys and the Japanese motorcycles, I think with our generation that started to disappear.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to old bikes. Like Heather and I recently scored what are those, Heather? 72 or
75 Honda CB200s.
And old, like anything that's an old bike that's something like that is cool. It almost doesn't matter what brand that it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and they're great. They were Shriners bikes, and they came with like the fairings and the bags, and
you can see by
so
Heather's sweater she's into accessories.
Hey, this is all you,
no,
sweetheart.
but listen,
this is all you.
So a couple things real quick. Like, first of all, I want to go on record right off the bat of saying either the Long Riders chapter, I'm willing to put that forward, or maybe the Cut Down Riders or Cut Down chapter.
Chris, why don't you start it?
I'm just saying.
Start the Long Ride chapter, then we can do bell bottoms and bed rolls.
Well, if you did that and then you put the Evos, you're really going to piss a lot of people off, because the Evos are never going to have a problem doing a 3,000-mile ride.
Yeah,
that's the
Well, you know what? I don't know those early Evos, boy.
Well, I'm saying in general, because like you go back to those. I mean, again, we've said it a million times. You want to build a bike you can pretty much beat to death, throw an Evo in it. You're going to get away with it, That would be the only negative. You'd always have to find a way to separate those in any ride length challenges or something like that.
So there's one thing I want to get to here before it disappears. The comments are going crazy. People are really, really digging the conversation. Rob Nussbaum says, quiz question, before Oli, where was the Pokemon meet held? Rob, I know that's not the right name. I just can't say that word. So we're just going to call it Pokemon.
Can I get a name, man?
And settle on that.
Oh, goodness.
So there's the trivia question. Before Oli, where was the meet held?
Okay, so Perkiomen is the name of the chapter. And I tell you what, bear with me 1 second. Let me pull a document up, and I'll tell you exactly where that was. Because all the events in the early days, when they started in the 50s and in the 60s, they all started with at somebody's farm. Okay, so let me dig up a Nationals event history document here.
No kidding.
I love that.
I will certainly be able to tell you that. So going back.
Oh, he said he already answered it.
I want to go back to the 50s here.
I know he answered it, but that's not the point. The way we're going to get the answer now is going to have more substance. So just follow along.
So let me get, that'll be the 60s before we got.
60 was I picked Pikachu.
Yeah, because in the 50s they were in Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey. That's where they were. So now we go to the 60s. So if you want to go to Pennsylvania, the first one, the Perkiomen chapter, was at Boyertown at the home of Doc Pat.
That's what Rob just said.
That's where it was, Rob. So he probably knows it. He was just seeing if I knew it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I had, but there it is.
That's awesome.
Isn't that like job specific? I wonder if Rob knows what the degree pitch of a cathedral ceiling is in a 1920s house.
Listen, I wouldn't put it past him.
Question.
Rob is like walking in Wikipedia.
I'm just questioning that.
He's pretty good.
So while you guys were chatting, I was perusing. I love looking at the AMCA's Instagram page, and the proof right there that they are so open to all makes and styles is right there. They've got some bikes on there that I've never seen before and that are just so damn cool. And they're obviously now, like, it's so refreshing to see them literally embrace everything, because like you said at the beginning, it doesn't have to be 100-point knucklehead.
No,
you know
because
I mean?
I think part of it too is like, you know, just marveling at the evolution of industry. You know what I mean? Like, how did we get to where we're at? You know, that's one of my favorite things. Like when I got to visit Jay Leno's garage with Kiwi Mike, it's the only place in the world where you can see an entire...
He gets to do all the cool stuff without me. Are you guys sensing a theme?
The only place where you can see an entire line of like 30 Brough Superiors in a line. You know what I mean? And he has them in all different years. And you could literally watch the evolution of engineering as it went through the model years of that bike. And it's the same thing like when you see an odd motorcycle that's an old motorcycle, it doesn't matter what brand it is. You have to stop there and appreciate what we learned in engineering and everything as these companies were learning how to make these motorcycles, and they were learning how to make them work and still trying to develop an identifiable brand and the personality of it at the same time. You know, it's amazing. It's a great part of Americana, no matter what brand.
And I think now that, you know, like you're saying, bringing in Keith is saying, bringing in the Japanese models, bringing in everything, the group of bikes that you're going to have the opportunity to see everywhere, it's going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be such a wide variety. It'd be super cool.
But at the same time, we don't want to lose the early stuff.
No.
You know, when we go to meets now and we do our judging, we have, you know, very few turn of the century and teens bikes compared to what we used to have. I mean, certainly we have a lot of 30s, 40s and up, but you know, these things are just disappearing to the museums, and we're trying to keep those in the hands of people that are going to get them out in the public and ride them. So on that note, can I talk a minute about our archives?
Absolutely.
Since we're talking about all this. So our archives have been around for about 40 years now, 45 years. And it's George Yaraki's the one who started this when he was on the board about 45 years ago. And then he handed it off to Bruce Linsday. George did this for 15 years. Then Bruce took it up and Bruce did it for 25 years. But, you know, these have always been at somebody's home. And it's all the collective history of the club. But now, last month, we moved all of those archives to the Antique Automobile Club's building in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So they have built this new AACA Library and Research Center, which is absolutely state of the art. If you're ever around Hershey, Pennsylvania, make sure to go visit the AACA. Now, there's an AACA museum, and then there's the library. Two separate places, very close to each other, but make sure to get over and see the Library and Research Center.
I'm going to put that link up now so everybody has it right there.
Okay.
So did Heather.
So now, thanks to a lot of volunteers, we have everything moved over to the library, and it is now accessible to the world. I mean, it's not just stored away in a box. We've got It was 50 boxes that I hauled there for. But we now have it all organized. There's a little bit more work to do to get it cataloged correctly so people know what to go and ask for. But you could go there and ask for something from the club, and they'll bring it out to a table and let you see it.
Oh,
so
great.
Anyway, that's a great move for us, and just really thrilled to be involved with the Antique Automobile Club now.
So on that note, are there digital assets that you're starting to house through that somehow too, or is that something that you're able to do through the AMCA? Because it'd be great to start getting, like, you know, the video we just ran of Steve Klein talking about the
Pierce.
The Pierce motorcycle.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great to start having that, you know, digital assets of somebody sitting there telling stories about different models and a lot of this stuff before it gets lost, you know, because today I hate to say it, but we're in an age where those video snippets are the route of communication, you know?
Yeah. So, yes. What we're doing with the digital part is, you know, for now, we have a huge library of digital content that's over at the Antique Motorcycle Foundation's website, which you can get to through a link on the AMCA website. But we also have an AMCA YouTube channel. And a lot of those videos of members talking or describing anything, that's actually on our YouTube channel. But the things that we have archived at Hershey now, what is not digitized is being digitized. So that's another thing about their full-time staff is we will have them continually digitizing all of our content until everything is up on our website. But then as far as the foundation, we'll continue putting anything that's like motorcycle manuals, brochures, you know, the kind of documentation that you need to restore a motorcycle. That will continue to be housed over at the Antique Motorcycle Foundation.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So if you guys are interested in any of the stuff that we're talking about here, over at antiquemotorcycle.org, you can get all of the club news, the meets, all the upcoming events. You can check all of that stuff out. You can get involved. Right here is your absolute portal to jump in anywhere you see fit.
Yep.
We definitely want to put a link of that up. We want to put a link to your YouTube page that you were just talking about that has killer content start to finish. They're also on, Heather said, the Instagram page is killer, and they have Facebook. So make sure you hit all of that. Heather's going to put all those links up for you.
I did.
You done it?
I done it.
I heard your sweater jingling. I knew it.
Yeah, and you want to talk about growth. There's where our growth is in Instagram.
Yeah.
Roland Sands, if you know Roland Sands, from the performance machine world, I was out at Roland's shop back in like 2015, and he's the one that told me, you need to be on Instagram. I said, man, I am digitally challenged when it comes to social media. So he said, hand me your phone. So he took my phone and he started the AMCA Instagram page right then and there.
Right on.
That's awesome.
So he told me, you got to stay on this. You got to constantly be putting content up there. Well, a year later, you know, I think we had 400 people on there. Thankfully, one of our members, Mark Gallen out of California, he took over as the moderator for Instagram, and he has blown that thing up to 70,000 members now.
Yeah, I see it there.
It is a huge asset to us.
Yeah, buddy.
So he's doing a great job. You know, no different than our social media with Facebook. You know, Jim Weir out of Colorado, he and his team have taken that thing from nothing up to, you know.
Yeah, you're 50,000 there.
Yeah, 50,000
Yeah.
people now. So, you know, that's where it's at. That's how people communicate these days. So some of us old guys aren't into it as much, but, you know, some of the older guys are. I know Lonnie Campbell is past president. Boy, he and Rick Najera, they live on Instagram. So if you want to communicate with those guys, that's how you communicate.
Well, and that's the big thing that we're always preaching too, is that, you know, the world we live in today, it's not a this or that proposition anymore. It's this and that,
right,
and that and that. I mean, even
it's a group.
You know, a lot of the benefits of this show, even we go all over the place through Facebooks, but the YouTubes are some of the most watched because people can watch that from their couch.
Yep.
You know, you can watch
Right.
YouTube right through your television now, so we get a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what else is coming up this year?
All right, so one of the big things, Daytona at the top of your show was mentioned. So one of the big changes for us this year is our second meet of the year. We start in Omaha in the winter and an indoor show. And then a week later, we're in Daytona. But now we will actually be in Daytona as opposed to New Smyrna. So the Sunshine chapter has worked out a deal with the Daytona Stadium which is where a lot of us used to race there. So we've always been familiar with the Daytona Stadium because of racing. But man, I can't wait. If you look at go to our website, go to our national meets, and go to the Sunshine Chapter link, it'll show you a great aerial view of it. Chris, while you're there, if you go to events, there you go. So if you'll click on that link there, just keep scrolling down. There you go. There is the place. So what you see there in the middle is the football field. They've astroturfed that now, so there's no track anymore. But to your right will be the swap meet area. Underneath the grandstands will be where all the concessions take place. There are showers because we can use the locker rooms for the showers. On the opposite side.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's going to be awesome. I mean, so we were kind of landlocked a little bit with Silver Sands, but now this layout you can see is just going to be fantastic. And then of course we're so much closer to all the hotels and restaurants in Daytona.
That's fantastic. That's
we
great
can't wait
news.
to get there. All the judging is going to take place on the opposite side of the field, underneath the grandstand. So we'll be protected from weather if we have that come in. But we're just thrilled. So that is the second of 13 national meets again this year, plus 4 national road runs. So this year our road runs are going to be the Allegheny chapter in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that would be my home chapter.
Yes, that's right. So that'll be your close one. And then the Yankee chapter is going to be in Deerfield, Massachusetts. Black Hills chapter will be where else but in the Black Hills at Deadwood, South Dakota. And then the Sunflower chapter will be ran out of El Dorado, Kansas this year. So 4 great road runs. And this year they're not on all in the same month. So people will be able to potentially make all of them if they'd like.
Right on. Well, I'll tell you what, you please keep an email to us at the ready and shoot us all of this stuff. Like this goes for everybody out there that has anything to do with the administration of any of the chapters of the AMCA across the country. Send us your event flyers. We read events every night at the end of every show that we do here, and we're always looking for events. There's no charge. There's no strings attached. Just send us that stuff so we can get more information out to people. We're happy to do that, and that goes for you guys too. Any news, anything that you want to send along to us about the club, we're happy to put it out.
We'll definitely do that. We'll spread that to our chapters.
Please.
So
Right on.
I'll keep firing things off to Heather, so keep her up to speed on what we're doing.
Keep feeding me all this stuff because we want to see this grow. We think it's just you have to keep motorcycling alive, and as long as they're getting older and you're embracing these younger kids that are digging on the older bikes, you got to bring them in because unfortunately everybody's getting older, including the motorcycles.
Yes, we are.
Right on.
So, one of the things too that we, are trying to push is our judging. So judging, we're trying to get the word out that this year is, for the first time, we're going to all pre-registration as opposed to just showing up. But that's for a better quality of judging, because if we know exactly what's coming, it makes us a lot more accurate in the field when it comes to the paperwork. Plus, it allows us to get marked specialists lined up so that we have somebody to accurately judge every single motorcycle. So, and then we've got a long-awaited new handbook that's coming out this year.
Right on.
So, for people who just want to know what it's all about or get involved in it, it'll be the nuts and bolts from start to finish as to what it takes to participate and what it is that we're looking for, even down to how we score the motorcycles. So that will all be open to anybody. Plus, we're still looking for a replacement chief judge. Don DeZerk retired last year, and we're using our assistant chief judges around the country to be event chief judges. But if anybody's interested, we are still looking for the head honcho of judging to take over the program. But, a lot of good things in store, a lot of young guys out there. So we're hoping we get one of those to step up.
So lot of shout outs for you. Rob Nussbaum, excuse me, says thank you for all the hard work. Tom Banks is in, giving you a nod. A lot of guys in the comments are happy the work that you're doing on behalf of the club. They all really appreciate it. But the thing I want to ask you about before we let you go is over your left shoulder there. What's going on? What's going on with that 50?
So as my wife says, this is my museum to myself. So that's not the original bike, but that represents the first motorcycle I ever owned. That's a 1969 Z50 Honda.
Nice.
So I acquired that a few years back at the Sunshine Meet. Bob Brandner is the guy who restored that motorcycle. And when it reached Winter Circle at the Sunshine Meet, I was just oodling over that thing. And he came up to me afterwards and he said, I'd be willing to sell that because I need the money to go build more, because he just constantly builds old small CC Hondas. So I went around, I went to Rick Najera. I know Rick's always good for cash in pocket. So Rick loaned me the money. I went over there and gave it to me, and I tossed that thing in my Suburban, and there it sits. So really proud to have that.
Right on. So hey, Rob Nussbaum says call Rat at Harbor Vintage for Chief Judge. There's your first nomination for Chief Judge.
Rat at Harbor Vintage. Yep. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for taking some time with us tonight. I appreciate it. Keep up the good fight for the antique, vintage, and classic motorcycles and
Evos,
and let's get that long riders, or I think long riders implies like long distance riding. It's got maybe the cut down chapter.
Yeah, Mark, I'll send you an application for the Evo chapter.
Oh, there you go.
Get that going. If I could give one more shout out before we go to 2023 is going to be the 50th anniversary for our president, Ross Metcalf. He joined when he was just a teenager through a mentor of his in Winnipeg, Canada. And, so that is historic to have a sitting president as a member for 50 years. Most of our 50-year members, these are guys in their 80s. So it's you're older. So it's really cool to having that, because giving a comparison to that, it would be like Matt Wachsler becoming the president and being the president at 50 years. If that was to happen, Matt Wachsler would be 74 years old before that could happen.
Yeah.
So more realistically is Matt Olson, because Matt Olson, he's been a member since he was 17 years old.
I was just going to say that's kind of not fair, because I think Matt was a member at 7.
Yeah,
I would say 7 years old.
Exactly.
Well, you would think his dad, he was certainly around all of this, but he wasn't a bona fide member. But what's funny is his son Locke is a member. Yeah. So Locke could potentially be the youngest president at that age. So there's a few guys out there that could hit Ross's achievements. But congratulations to Ross Metcalf for being in there for 50 years. We really appreciate everything he's done for the club. Absolutely. So thank you guys for letting me be on here tonight. We appreciate everything that you do for the whole industry. And I know you're the chopper guys, but man, you guys do a lot to promote us. And I know when we go, when Sturgis is going on, you're the guys who promote the AMCA in Sturgis. So thank you for everything.
And listen, don't misunderstand. Someday I'm going to stop looking at every panhead like it has to be 9 feet long, and I'm going to have a gentleman's motorcycle to show up at one of these events. I promise. It was going to be this one until the damn Chopper's friends, and I'm making another long bike out of a panhead.
Hey, well,
But
just go ahead
soon.
and show up on your little 200 Honda. I know you won't break that thing.
Well, don't say never.
Right? All right, Keith. Well, listen, you have a good holiday, buddy, and thanks again for being in here with us.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank
Merry
you
Christmas.
so much,
Merry
Keith.
Christmas to
Merry
you.
Christmas.
All right, hey, we got a lot of shop talk left. Go check those guys out. Be part of the AMCA. Like he said, even if you don't have an old bike, even if you don't have a bike, if you dig the culture, you want to support the cause, do what you can to keep old bikes around.
I mean, it's worth it to join just for access to their website. They have so many resources on here for their members, tech tips, member videos, garages, like you name it, it's on here. Vintage motorcycle library. So, and it's not expensive to join. So
In the
go do that.
meantime, you guys are watching Shop Talk through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. We got some more of the show left here. Right now, we're going to go to a tech tip. When we come back on the other side, Heather is going to do some events. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Shop Talk. Shop Talk Tech Tips are brought to you by S&S. Proven performance for the power sports industry. Hey, this is Chris with Cycle Source Greasing Gears TV, and we're back in the shop today working on our Chopper Friends throwdown frame. You can see it here in its tacked up and nearly finished state, but we're going to go all the way back today to bending tubing. From doing our tests, we know each one of the pieces, how much material we need, so we're just going to start with that. Cut the material for the down tubes, cut the material for the lower frame rails, and get ready to go to the bender. You have to watch whenever you're doing this to never go past 3/4, or not 3/4, but less than half. You don't want to wrap around, because if you do, that thing has a tendency to want to grab a hold of you and twist your arms up, and it doesn't care if you scream and bleed and all that shit. Okay, one. So I have all of my instructions for the bends we're going to do. In this case, it's the same flat broke chopper frame that we do with wishbone style tubes. I have all my bend instructions, you know, in the sequence that I'm doing everything written down. So we'll put this over here so we can follow along with it as we go. This is my first step, the way I do it anyway. And put all of your measurements, indicate all your measurements along the tubing. 12 inches, 4 inches, 19 inches. Now, since these are hopefully going to be identical, just opposite, I'm going to make the same marks. Great little trick that Will Ramsey taught me. Little piece of tubing that has the same ID as the OD of the tubing we're working with. This is a great way to transfer your marks around the radius. Now, the reason this is important is as we move down the tubing for the different bends we'll be doing, some of them are 90 degrees, some of them are 180 degrees off center. So you don't want to have to screw around when you get to that point. It's just as easy to do it right off the rip and have them the whole way around the tubing from the beginning. Before more experienced guys say, well, what you need is a digital angle finder. I have a digital angle finder. Still kind of a pain in the ass. So what I'm going to do is put it in this follow block that we'll be doing the bends with. And I'm going to make a line down both sides. And that literally gives me the ability to come up there, go, okay, there's my line, make my first bend, 180 degrees, make my second bend. That's where the wishbone comes from. 1/3 die, 1 inch follow block. Basically the deal with this is the material goes in, lock it into place, you have a start line. This holds the pressure on it. Back here we have a degree indicator so that as we're adding degrees to our tubing, you can see exactly where it's at. Now, the biggest thing you have to figure out while doing this is there is a plus or minus factor. Tubing, any material, depending on what you have as you bend it, it has what they call spring back. So what we've determined in our use of this 1 inch DOM tubing, it has a 2 degree spring back. So you'll have to figure that out as you go. So we're going to start with our wishbone. I'm on my center line with my indicated mark for my first bend. And tighten it up, get our follow block in place, lock it in place, and from 0, the book tells me bend to 16 degrees. Mittler Brothers hydraulic bender, amazing, amazing piece of equipment. I can't say enough about this tool. I've used a variety of different pipe kinkers and, you know, shit that's supposed to work well, the big manual ones and all that stuff. This thing is just worth its weight in gold, worth every single penny. Check out Mittler Brothers, American-made tools for American workers. 16 degrees, here we go. Okay, so set up for our second bend here, but I'll show you guys the importance for setting up those center lines ahead of time. The second bend, we're going to rotate now 180 degrees, and you can see here why those lines are important, is rather than sit there and, you know, try to with one hand hold the tubing and the other hand hold the degree finder, we can just go to our other center line 180 degrees opposed. So second bend is happening at 23 degrees. So literally, like I said, the 2-degree spring back, we're looking for 21, but we're going to 23 to achieve it. There's the beginning of our wishbone. We're gonna start with the right side. So coming down to my same established center line, which is pretty dope. Now I know if I just lightly lock this into place here, I need to rotate 90 degrees off of this. So this is where you can use a tool like the digital angle finder. So I'm at 0 there. I'm going to make a mark. And I'm going to rotate that to 90 degrees. I'll make another mark. Significance of that mark, since I've transferred it to the outside, is I'll be able to roll that 90-degree mark to whatever position I need on both sides of this follow block, and it's going to give me the 90 to do the next bend. So since we're doing the right side, the left, it veers into the left. Our 90 is going to be down. Rotate it until my 90 mark is in line with my follow block. I'm on my line, I'm on my 90. Okay, 44 degrees. Before I unlock this, I'm actually gonna establish that center line, because the next bend happens on the same center line. Okay. Last bend is 38 degrees on the same center. So, if our math is right and everything's good, this is the payoff. Yeah, dude. That's what's up right there. Okay, that's all the time we're going to have for today. Next episode, when we come back, we're going to get into using the notcher and show you how to fit this stuff together. We're also going to bend our lower and upper rear frame rails. Until then, be sure to check out our YouTube page for more of this content. I'm Chris with Cycle Source Magazine's Grease and Gears TV.
Bikers Info USA, the first bikers app by bikers, for bikers, and it's free. National and state events, Sturgis and Daytona, Bikers Info USA. Every motorcycle manufacturer dealer listed. Biker products for you and your bike. Bikers Info USA. Find the places to go, places to party, places to stay at every event. Bikers Info USA. Download it now. It's free. Bikers Info USA.
Hey, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, and today I want to talk to you guys about tires. So I'm in the Dennis Kirk warehouse where they pretty much have a tire for anything on two wheels. You know, that's one of the tricky things today in your local shop. Sometimes it's hard to get a tire. Well, they ship today from here, so pretty much any of these you can have tomorrow. Everything for your dirt bike, your ATV, your UTV, you can get these out today. And in addition to features like the tire finder on their website, if you buy the wheel at the same time you buy the tire, you get free mounting and balancing. Check them out today at denniskirk.com.
Everything we do at the track shapes what we build for the street and the dirt.
You can see how bad these guys want it. The race to the line.
For us, racing is not for the trophies or the glory. We compete because it makes everything we do faster, more durable, and tested to a higher standard. For S&S, racing is the ultimate in proven performance, and we've been proving it since 1958.
Okay, welcome back to the Dennis Kirk studio. You're watching Shop Talk. Sorry that tech tip was kind of long. I really didn't know how to cut that thing up any shorter than it was. You know, it's a lot of information. I actually had done enough video to do the whole, like, upper frame rails, lower frame rails. I put the seat tube on. I did all this stuff. And when I started editing the video down, I was like, it's going to be like a 95-minute video. There's no way I can do all of this in one shot.
I was like, yeah, no. You can do that on YouTube.
It would have been way cooler if you would have done all the mess ups instead of the one you
Oh,
got
dude, right?
You know what I mean?
Right? Because I had a pile of tubing, you
Although,
know. But listen, I mean, that's what it takes.
Yep.
That's what it
Oh, yeah.
takes.
And, like, he asked me, he's like, hey, can you come watch this? And as I'm watching, I'm like, and this is what you do next, and this is what you do next. And he's like, well, what do you think? I'm like, it's great, but I've watched you do all of this through every screw up you've made over the entire week. So.
That's your job.
Sometimes.
No, they're really good, actually.
That encouragement.
Well, and that's just it. It gives it makes people want to try it.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
it gives them. They're like, hey,
Motivation.
I can do this, you know, or motivation, or at least
keep in mind. Years ago, we did that with a freaking wooden bench and a torch.
Right.
You know,
Right?
we never really had the benders.
How about when Josh was here the other night talking about, hey, I heard about two guys with a digging bar.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But again, that's, you know, to see the, you know, where the technology's come to be able to, you know, offer those videos up, which a lot of guys already know that. But I mean, in all reality, I can think of how many bikes we have done the old bend the, you know, bend the tube over the bench thing with the torch. And hey, they were great. You know, we rode those things for a lot of miles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not, you know, not busting on those guys that still do that. But if you're going to make a product to offer to somebody else, you might want to have the product be right by the time it's over. So
right.
No chances. So I mean, I like watching them. I enjoy doing them. But and the other thing is, some of those screw ups also make you better at what you're doing. Make you pay more attention.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, and that was when I first decided I was going to cut the follow block. I cut an inch to do, like, on the bottom frame rail to do that kick out. You have to make the bends happen so fast that you need a little tiny follow block.
Yeah.
And I told Heather I was going to cut this, and those, like, the combination die and follow blocks, that's like $500 or $600 for the material.
And I
you
was
know
like,
what I mean?
Well, you know what? You do have a Bridgeport, and I do have those steel blocks.
I know, and now I'm
you
getting
could
hip
make
to,
any size follow block you want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But watching you progress over the course of the week from
Is it
the
painful?
first bend,
Tell me it's painful.
No, it's actually been really great.
She was like, "You go, little buddy."
The only thing that was frustrating for me is be like, he'd be like, I need your opinion. I'm like,
shut up.
I don't effing know. I'm like, don't ask me that.
And then you took my exact reply away, because every time he sends me a picture of something and he does while I'm not here, my reply is, you go there, little trooper.
I'm like, look at you go, little buddy.
Oh,
you
I must say we are
bastards.
the worst support group ever on the planet.
No, I do. I mean, but it has been really neat watching the progression. And then, seeing it come together is so cool. It's so cool when you're like I walked out there today and I'm like, there's a motorcycle frame on the jig. That's awesome.
Well, and you know what? A lot of
Fingernails, clippings, and hair underneath that.
A lot of people I have to thank for that, starting with Will Ramsey, Bare Knuckle Paul. Like, a lot of people have taught me so much of this stuff. Almost every day I talk to
Rick
Steve
Bray.
Broyles. Almost every couple days I talk to Rick Bray. I've been in Rick Bray's ear for God.
Well,
but
you're going to pay him back when you bring that throne out there to him. So.
Oh God.
Once he's the new Chopper King.
the Chopper King.
It's been really cool though to see it come together, and it's amazing. Like I've helped and watched a good number of Chris's motorcycles come together from a bare frame, but to see the frame actually be put together and things that you don't even think about.
Yeah.
Like the transmission mount plate and.
Well, Mark came over. So this is the thing. Like anybody that knows, we build a ton of bikes, and they're based off of they're based off of our design. So like we say to either Paco or Lead Sled or whoever we're getting the frame off, we're like, okay, look, we want 9 degrees or 9 inches in the down tube. We want 42-degree rake. Like this is how we want it, with this wide in the back. This time we got to do that from scratch, and it's not about ego. It's not about like, am I ever going to sell one of these frames to somebody? Probably
it's like,
not.
Can I do this?
Yeah,
well, you just have to prove to yourself that you can do it.
It's
Absolutely.
so badass.
Well, and that's why the videos that you do, I think, are so great, because there's a ton of guys out there that will never do it themselves.
And you should.
But they want to know how it's done, and they want to. Well, they may not have the benefit of a Mittler Brothers bender. You know what I mean? That's really special that you have that.
It is. And there's other ways to do it. Like I was talking about the big manual one.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that manual bender whatsoever.
Oh, it's awesome.
And then you have to keep in mind that, like Chris was saying, we'll make phone calls to other people, and, you run out there. A lot of times you don't just call them and say, hey, make this for me, and then I'll come pick it up. You actually go out there, you be a part of it and all that.
Right.
But,
they just charge extra for that.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, you standing there. It's not. But this time the conversation was, hey, getting that confidence in your own abilities and doing it yourself. Like we said, the pile of bent, pipes bent wrong. You have to have that pile, because that center you're doing. Whoa! I just totally lost that in my ear.
That was me.
Hello.
Wow.
Sorry.
I don't know. I thought an acid trip was coming back there for a
I was
second.
like, holy guacamole.
I was trying to do something because.
Oh boy.
Hang on.
We don't even want to know.
These are the bent pipes of the computer world.
Let me clarify something about my comment about he never sells any of them. I love that we have all the motorcycles that we do. But whenever Chris says, I want, or I wish I had, I'm like, well, because he can build another motorcycle. Like, that's not a problem. I'm like, well, if you sell this one that somebody really, really wants, you could have this.
Yeah, no,
but unless you have the money to have this, you're never going to have this. You're just going to keep saying, I want.
Well, then you don't have the one you sold, so you have to have that one.
Well, but he can make another one.
What I was saying before, for the time that you lose running to these shops, and it's a shame because you get to spend time with them, to actually sit back, because like Heather and Chris both said, we've done so many of these, and now to do it from frame up right here it's saving not only time, but it's giving you the incentive, and mostly Chris, the incentive to know that you can do it. You do have it. Anybody can do this. It's not rocket science. You're not inventing the wheel. In all reality, the platform's the same. It's how you bend. There's a few things in this frame that Chris actually changed, I may have not have done that. Somebody like, Paul Weidman or Pat Patterson may not have done it, but that's Chris's flair. And that's what gives you the ability to make your flair. So take the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Build one. Do it yourself. Give it a try.
I broke the damn computer.
Did you throw it
What
on the
did
ground?
you do?
Well, I tried to sign into Zoom because I wanted to I was going to give everybody an opportunity to come into Zoom. And
Real nice. This is why we can't have nice stuff.
I know.
Chris.
We need to have
I
that.
know.
Oh, you shush your mouth, Poppy.
What?
If he wants a bigger shop, he can. You shut up.
You shut up.
You shut up.
Love that line.
We still need to have that small shop.
What?
Shop talk. The small shop owners.
Yeah,
Remember?
that's
We need to
right.
do that. I'm gonna pick a date and I need volunteers. Ready? Let's spin the wheel of dates.
And go.
And go.
So
Let's say Sunday, January 15th. Small shop owner shop talk.
So what are you saying? Small shop owners send a message to
Yeah,
Heather?
send me a
get
message
group
if you want to
together?
come on and be part of the show.
So in the meantime, let's take a look at the events. The Shop Talk events calendar is brought to you by the Bikers Info app, the Everything Bikers app, all in one place, everything you need, and it's free.
Bikers Info USA. Sorry. January 14th, the Carolinas Full Throttle Magazine Custom Motorcycle Show in Greensboro, North Carolina. I know I said that wrong. Yes, Professional Monkey, you can absolutely nominate somebody to be small shop owner on our show. Just send me a message. You got my number. Next.
Show's going to hell right in front of us.
Cycle Showcase STL, February 11th and 12th at the City Foundry in beautiful downtown St. Louis. You absolutely need to be there. Chopper Fest, February, same weekend. But awesome that they rescheduled. They made the best decision they could. February 12th, 2023, Ventura County Fairgrounds. Mama Tried, February 18th through 19th, 2023, Eagles Ballroom, Milwaukee. Go check them out, mamatried.com. 34th Annual Donnie Smith Show, the Midwest Motorcycle Extravaganza. March 25th through 26th, Bike Show and Swap Meet. We'll be there. Maybe I can get my yeah.
Maybe you get your Snoopy what?
My Snoopy Chopper tattoo.
That doesn't look very good. I'm not doing a real good job with the show tonight. I think I'm preoccupied.
You have Chopper on the brain. You have Chopper
I do.
brain. Arizona Bike Week 2023, March 29th through April 2nd. 26th annual will be part of that as well. Texas Fandango. I'm so sad about this. It's the same time as Arizona Bike Week.
We're going to figure it out.
Both outstanding events.
I need to borrow a helicopter. Anybody out there?
Son of a biscuit eater.
I need to borrow a helicopter.
Well, maybe we can divide and conquer. We'll see. But anyway, the Prowl Motorcycle Show, Bisbee, Arizona, March 18th. Damn it, I still don't have that in the right order.
So we have till March 18th that Heather's going to keep reading this event. I think we need to make sure she watched Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Men.
And she has to say it like Burgess Meredith does on there.
How are you supposed to say it?
Chuck's like a tomcat on the prowl.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, it helps if I'm on the screen. Backroad Barbecue on May 12th through 14th, 2023, Trenton, North Carolina at Trent River Campground. You can go to backroadbarbecuerun.com to get more information. Smokeout Rally. Ta-da! September 7th through 10th, 2023 at the Rowan County Fairgrounds. You don't want to miss it.
I'm going to leave that up there for a minute.
Son of a biscuit eating. The One Motorcycle Show, April 28th through the 30th.
Still out of order?
Yes, and I fixed it. I thought I fixed it. TheOneMoto.com. That is in Portland, Oregon.
Talk me into it.
You should go.
And then?
I'm waiting
She's
for the
stuck.
next. I'm stuck.
Oh, is that my part?
That's all you.
Who invited that guy?
The Black Hills Motorcycle Show, the inaugural Black Hills Motorcycle Show, May 27th, 2023, in Deadwood, South Dakota. Son of a biscuit, I have to put that on there. Panhead 75th anniversary in June. Roger Green, thanks for the info.
Hello.
Send me info. DM me.
Did you really just say that?
It's getting late.
Oh, it is getting late. I was going to try to do something. So in an upcoming, when I remember to do this the right way, in an upcoming episode, the next time we're on the show, let's make a deal here.
January 8th.
If you have the ability to do Zoom, if you have the ability to do Zoom.
You're going to do an open show?
In the second half of the show, after we have our guest on, the second half of the show, I am going to put the Zoom link in the comments. Now, here's the deal. I can't promise that we're going to get to everybody. I can't promise who gets on the show and who doesn't. But we'll put the link up. As I see people come up, we'll bring you on to talk about the topics that we have on the show. We're going to try to do this and make this a more interactive part of the show. But, you know,
that's gonna
try
be
to
fun.
under one
Professional
circumstance,
monkey, if you miss it.
If there's a chance that I can delete to get rid of somebody, can I do that? That'd be great. So, don't do something stupid because I'm dropping you.
And everybody has to have clothes on.
Hello.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah. No, listen, because
I'm just saying.
before we bring you on the show, I'm going to see you on the other computer. So if it's if you're trying to pull a fast one, we probably won't let it happen.
Please just have clothes on. Please.
And you could have a sweater.
Christmas sweater.
Oh, Big D said like the gong show, Mark.
Hello. Exactly. I'm going to get a big hook. Drag your picture right off the screen.
Professional monkey. I didn't say what clothes. You just have to have some clothes. They can be your wife's clothes. I don't care.
Oh my!
I'll be all stoned, smoking up the weed. What was his name? What was the dude's name from the Gong Show?
Yeah,
I think
he was always wasted.
Wasn't he an international man of mystery?
Something. He was something. I know he was the highest man in the world there for a while.
Oh Jesus!
Chuck Barris.
Chuck Barris.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, on that note.
All right, man.
Mark,
well,
are you closing the show?
Am I?
I don't know. You were like on that note.
He was calling for a close.
I meant Chuck Barris.
Listen,
on that note,
seriously though,
highest man in the world.
Before we let you guys go, let me reiterate the fact that this is our most extreme honor and pleasure to come to you every night or every Sunday night at 9 p.m. and share this stuff with you. Thank you so much. 222 episodes now.
Oh my gosh.
Really, really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody at Dennis Kirk, everybody in the motorcycle industry for all the support. Most importantly, we're not going to be back for 2 weeks through the holidays, so we want to make sure we send out a little special love for all of you guys.
Can you sing your Christmas song?
No.
Damn it.
Absolutely not.
It was the thought.
But from everyone here at Shop Talk, we want you guys all to have a safe and happy holidays. Please enjoy the new year responsibly, unlike Heather and her ridiculous sweater.
Hey, you bought me this ridiculous
I didn't
sweater.
think you would wear it.
What am I supposed to do with it? I
All right.
Christmas harder than you.
For now, that's it. Professional Monkey, Mike Draco, Troy Phillips, Poppy, Ashley Woodford, Mike Robb, Russ Journey, Dennis Stauber.
Everybody.
All you guys.
Merry Christmas, all y'all.
Merry Christmas to all of you. We will see you next year when we come back. Same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
Happy holidays, Felicia.
You got him. What the hell did I do to the show tonight? And we hope you pay them a visit when you're in the market for great motorcycle parts, products, and events. S&S Cycles, Makuni American, Baco Parts, The Broken Spoke Saloon, Twisted Tea, The Iron Horse Saloon, High Seas Rally, Twisted Choppers, Twin Power, Drag Specialties, Geico, Law Tigers, Tech Cycle, Fueling Parts, Lone Star Rally, Hijinks Apparel, Progressive Insurance, Spectral Oil,
no school choppers, Motion Pro Tool.